When kids these days just act like monsters, teaching can be a real rough gig. When the student body, staff, and townsfolk are literal monsters, though, well, that's a whole different can of corn. Luckily, there's one fish out of water that may be up to the challenge, for 13 episodes at least. Oh, Captain, my name is Derek J. Hoover, and this is the history of Rick Moranis in Gravedale High on Yesterdaze.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
69, dudes!
Well, there's your problem right there, Vern.
Hey, Willie. Cowabunga!
Goonies never say die!
I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I?
And knowing is half the battle.
Autobots, roll out.
Gordon's alive.
It only takes a spark. It only takes a spark to start.
Welcome to Yesterdaze. I am, of course, Derek J. Hoover, and I am joined by two ghoulishly good guys. To my right is Dustin Dutch, Powder Keg, Meadowlark, Don't Piss Mouth, the softer side of the keg, Wyckoff.
Hello.
And in front of me is Jason Jellicle Hoover Tosher.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, how are you?
Thank you for having me back.
Thank you for having us back in your house and having you back.
What if I decided to not do the show? Would I just set this up and then just go sit in the other room while you guys do it?
Could you?
No,
We'd probably be recording at his house, and
Yeah.
then the kid would just be yelling in the background.
No, we would makeshift our way. And
Daddy's talking about toys.
Well, you bought a house recently,
Yeah.
a few months ago. Are there any plans to make a studio in the house?
Yeah.
In the basement somewhere?
Yeah.
So you go down the stairs. I've been there.
Yeah.
Immediately, you kind of go to like a kind of a living room kind of area.
Yeah.
Which way do I go to your new studio?
Diagonal. It's going to be. I showed you what
down the stairs, straight to the back wall, and then hang a right.
Yeah,
that room. Okay.
What will be my office? Because it's a big enough space that my jerknasium.
Sure, that's pretty good.
That'll be like my toy room office, and I do want like a little studio space in there.
So it would be an
record
office,
if we need to.
a place to display all of your toys and record.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a bit of a tall order.
I
You can
had
make it
one of
work,
those
though.
rooms. It's now Brianna's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sleep divorced. Party time.
We're not
sleeping great.
we're sleep divorced right now.
I've never had a problem sleeping. She had the problem sleeping.
Yeah. I will say this: since we moved into the new house and got a king size bed, like with the exception of like right now while her mom's in town, which at the
You're
time
sleeping with her mom, right?
No.
You ever accidentally get in bed with her mom?
No.
And then you like start feeling up. You're like, oh,
Mrs. Bernice.
No.
You don't do that?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, I
But
do
what
not.
if you did?
Yeah. Take us through if you did do that.
I don't know what that was, but it was.
I never know what's going to set you off.
It just
So
hit
your
me right.
wife just got surgery. She's not feeling great. You ever, like,
sleeping single.
You ever get in the bed with your wife? She can't do nothing. So you're like,
I'm gonna touch your butt and grab my pud.
Pud. Jesus.
The dumbest name for a penis ever.
Pulling my pud.
Pulling my pud.
I love the alliteration, but
Just pulling on my pud.
it's
pal.
both pleasing and offensive to the ear.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I'm pleasurably pulling my pud.
That's right.
No, we were sleep divorced for the longest time. Then we moved into a house where we didn't have a cracker box fucking bedroom. We have a king size bed. So
Dude, we got a California king, and that's still.
Are you shitting me?
No, we've had it for years.
is it a snoring issue? Is she restless? She got the Jimmy leg.
There's a lot of things,
fair
and
enough.
yeah, it's
She's working on those night toots.
like a box of apples rolling down the stairs.
Yeah, every time
those
I come in the bedroom
night-twos.
after editing, I'm tasting ketchup and onion.
You had a bedroom before, though, where your Shauna would go in there and she'd go to sleep, and there'd be like a army of canines sleeping in the bed, and then you
Yeah.
have to sleep in the recliner.
Jason got rid of some of them, right?
I did take him out the pasture.
I'm about
for him.
to About to text you.
The deaf blind one's dead, right?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
dead.
Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy's dead.
That dog could play the
Tommy,
fucking
can you
pinball.
hear me? No, I can't.
No, that was I
Right now,
might have been
it's
one of the only ones of yours that I liked.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Spencer and George. It's
You got that young puppy. He's a real piece of shit.
what Prudence. First of all, it's
Dear-
girl. Second of all,
dear
Prudence isn't a
Prudence.
piece of shit.
Yeah, it is. It's like running on me and like licking me. It's like just fucking relax. Let me.
She
pet
does still have a lot of fucking pup in her. Once she mellows out, she'll be.
ya. But that
A-okay,
that blind and deaf one, that fucking Helen Keller of a dog you had was great.
Are you the miracle worker?
What was that lady's name?
Oh, I forget her name.
Jane Lynch. What was her name? Fucking.
Nope.
Annie Lennox.
Oh God.
It was something. Is Anne Murray? That's
Anne
what it
Marie.
was.
Yeah. No, that was.
It was.
Mark Lynn
That was
Baker.
the folk singer, wasn't it?
It was Anne something.
The
right?
Snowbird.
Ann Sullivan.
That's right. That's right.
Was it Ann Sullivan?
Hey, why don't you put in the John Daly song, Helen Keller? It's my favorite song in the world.
Helen Keller was born a healthy child in Tuscumbia, Alabama on June 27, 1880. At the age of 19 months, Helen became deaf and blind as a result of an unknown illness, possibly rubella or scarlet fever.
It is not blindness or deafness that bring me my darkest hours. It is not blindness or deafness that bring me my darkest hours.
She was born a healthy child with a manner that was mild. Helen Keller, Helen Keller. Then some organ trail disease brought her eyesight to its knees. Helen Keller, Helen Keller. And then she met Ann Sullivan. She started making letters into her hair. She said, "Groove on, Helen Keller, groove on. You're getting it, Helen. You're one hell of a Keller."
It is not blindness or deafness that bring me my darkest hours.
She was deaf, dumb, and blind, but Harvard didn't mind. Helen Keller, Helen Keller. She was blind, deaf, and mute. Started her own institute. Helen Keller,
International.
Helen Keller. And then she
Not a joke.
I didn't skank to that one on stage.
I asked him to play it. He said he would, and he didn't play it.
He didn't hear you.
He said, "Yeah."
No. I was doing a Helen Keller joke.
Oh, for God's sakes.
That song fucking rocks.
Hey, what are our listeners called?
Well, we're all adults at heart, but I like to call our listeners the Nostalgiaholics.
It's not what I call them.
Oh my goodness! Do we have much banter at the top?
I thought we just did it.
Did we? We just had ourselves a good time.
I have a grievance to air.
Oh,
real quick.
a grievance.
I know we're not quite in the Festivus season, but I do have an airing of grievances.
It's fine.
Well, it's one grievance.
Oh boy. Do I need to make some popcorn?
If you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, light on the butter for
Get
me.
the pull.
Light butter, light salt. Derek here has been very busy with the show. He's writing a lot of great stuff that he's tweeting, and he's also he said I want to have a social media presence, and so he made a Twitter. I assume there's a Facebook page. I don't see that. I don't know.
I have not made one. I don't know if I want to.
There's a nice website that was made. Really,
Ben
looks
did a
good.
great job on it.
I mean, first grievance, there are multiple grievances. The first one, you totally ripped a picture of the IBWIP studios for your main page. You totally ripped that.
I don't know where Ben found that because I don't remember giving that to him.
You totally ripped it.
He's blaming it on Ben.
Yeah, that's smart. Scapegoat. Ben looks like a fucking scapegoat. Two,
Fucking hell, man.
when you were building the site, you said there's going to be a component of the site where the people who go there, I would like for them to get to know the hosts of the show.
Yes.
And you said to Dustin and myself, you said, please send me a picture and a bio or something you'd like included in the bio.
Yes.
And I answered almost instantly. I had a picture.
You sure did.
And a full bio ready to roll. I sent that to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. I'm looking at the website now, and that is not what I sent.
No, it's not.
So I had a full thing ready to go, and I sent it to you, and I was like, "This is what you should use." I took all the work off your plate. It was ready to go. It was a simple copy and paste job. You said no go.
I said no go.
He wrote his own thing.
You wrote an own thing about me, and I don't know what did you tell me about your experience working with Derek? Because I find it very hard when it comes to the bio.
Well, he picked a great picture because, I mean, just...
You're wearing a tie.
Look at that, the hair down. And
Okay, so you said he chose a picture, so you did not choose that picture.
No.
What about the bio? Did you write that bio?
No, because it says codename Dutch, but everybody knows a Meadow Lark powder keg.
Bendy straw.
Bendy straw. It's a studio.
Okay, so you didn't write that either.
No, I told him, you're the writer of the group.
But so you didn't.
I trust you.
You didn't give him any information.
Somebody had faith in me.
Say you were like, well, you came to us and asked us.
Truth be told, half of the paragraph is just the list of podcasts I've hosted over the years. So the copy, there wasn't a whole lot he had to really put down.
But say you're like, oh, you know what, Derek? Thank you for contacting me and reaching out. I will write something, and you give it to him. You painstakingly take the time to write your own bio. You give it to Derek, who asked for it, and he tells you no. How would you feel about that? Because I feel I'm crestfallen.
Yeah, I'd have questions.
See? I went to the site when I found it was active. I went to the page of the bio. I found my name and face, and it was in my bio, and it was nothing like I gave you. Can you speak to that? Because
maybe you should read what you gave him. So that way the listeners can hear it and they can compare.
I don't have to read it. I wrote it already. I know what it says.
But we don't know. Well, I know what it is, but like the listeners, the patrons, the Cadult nostalgiaholics,
the jerknasiums.
Yes, they want to know.
That's my special place. My special place.
What did you write that Derek didn't deem appropriate?
I kind of want to hear what Derek didn't think was appropriate about what I gave you, because I gave you a photo and a bio just like you asked. This is all work that you have to do that I'm taking off of your plate and serving to you on a silver platter.
And while I appreciate that thought, I really wanted to knock it out of the park presenting you as I see you and as I hold you dear to my heart.
Then why even ask us for our input if you're just going to take out your cock and fucking jizz all over it?
Well, that's a harsh way of looking at it, taking out the cock.
I was trying to be dirty.
He called you a mid-century modern savant.
Yeah. I wanted to showcase the things, very briefly, some of the things I love most about you.
But why did you even ask us for our input if what we gave you is completely discarded?
One, the courtesy of asking. Two,
the courtesy of asking.
Yeah,
I don't need you to put on airs with me.
It's not putting on an air.
Putting on ass. Sick of this shit. Putting on ass. Sick of this shit.
I think it's Okay. I think it's courteous to ask person, like, do you have something in mind? Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of thought about concise formats of the website, and what you sent me was a little long, and I'm like, well,
but you didn't use any of it.
No.
Where's there swearing?
No, there's no swearing in it.
No.
It was okay. It was a little long. You can chop it up.
I wanted to write something a little more serious than what you had.
Serious?
Yes.
Yahoo serious?
Oh no.
Oh.
You'll forgive me, and I'm sorry to dominate the portion of the show that's designated for banter, but I have a serious beef that I feel like we cannot move forward.
Beef.
What would help quell?
A physical challenge.
I just don't understand why you would ask us. It's almost like a pleasantry or putting on airs of the illusion of asking us for our input, and when we give it to you, it's discarded. And I don't mean to bring you into this because you didn't give him anything, but you were asked.
You're right, I didn't.
But you were asked.
I was,
and I don't understand. I don't understand what happened, and I don't like to use the word miffed very often.
Okay. You're being very upfront and blunt with me, and the things I did already say are very true. But to be much more concise, I didn't like what you sent me, and
what was wrong with it?
I didn't like some of the things that were in it.
So if you come to someone and say,
I wanted to write a bio about you that was a little more serious. Some humor in it.
I feel like what I said was, I don't think there was anything silly in it at all. It was about my life, my experiences as a person. Is my biography.
I'll make you a deal. If you want to alternate paying for the website, I'll put whatever fucking bio you want in there, darling.
I'll. You know what? No.
Then shut up.
Are you paying for the website?
I am.
We have patrons?
Not enough to cover the cost of the website yet. But
okay.
Never made a website for Ernest.
Okay.
Did you read my original bio that I sent him?
Probably.
Okay. I don't know. I don't fully understand
and
what happened.
it was a much longer bio than we. I didn't want.
I didn't know
quite that long.
You asked for something, I delivered it.
You did.
I think for you, it's simple. Like, oh my gosh, this is a huge thing off my plate. Copy, paste, done.
That's not really how I do things. I appreciate you directing me towards it. I just wanted to take it in a different route than what you had listed there.
Okay. All right. Well, if anyone wants to contact me directly to get the real story,
the real skinny
on Jason Jellicle Hoover, I would be happy to present that information to you. Just reach out to me personally.
Just reach out to him,
and I will give you the actual real deal on Jason.
Reach out and touch Jason's right hand.
Thank you for that.
Make this world a better place.
You know, I remember a time where, specifically you and Brianna, commenting on Couch Pilots, how unlikely it would be for me to keep the show concise. Here we are.
This is the banter.
Seems the shoe's on the other foot.
Oh, he's pointing at you.
Oh, I'm
talking about the both of you, which I think it's funny. I
can make this show 25 minutes if I really want to. All this shit gets cut.
Fucking cut it all, motherfucker.
It's just Derek talking about visionaries for a half hour. Jason and I aren't anywhere in the episode. And then people are like, what the fuck is this
shit?
I can do it.
That show sucks.
I can do it.
I just hope
Test the powder keg, baby.
You come to your senses and you realize what I gave you is my truth.
I have not seen this side of him in a long time, and I love it.
He's
drinking Busch Tall Boys. He's having a good time.
I'm not the host anymore.
He's giving me that smirk I haven't seen in a long time.
This is 5 years of payback, motherfucker.
He's in the pocket.
Put it in my pocket, in my back pocket. Put it in my pocket, in my pocket, in my back pocket. Oh, and I put it in my pocket, put it in my pocket, in my back pocket. Put it in my pocket, in my pocket, in my back pocket, and I'll read it when I'm alone. Do you like me? Circle yes or no on this piece of paper, 'cause I really, really need to know.
Oh, yeah!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
It's best to just let him finish.
Wow, man, freaked out.
He's in the pocket. Good for you.
So I'm not going to ask for it now, but someday I know you'll come to me and be like, you know what, I was wrong.
Oh, I don't think I was wrong.
I'm very sorry.
He's going to write your biography.
I will forgive you.
I don't think I was wrong to do what I did, but if I upset you, I am sincerely sorry.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean that either. I just yell sometimes because I get so scared. Scared of being a nobody. Why don't you just come back upstairs, honey? I'll give you the old smoochy smook kissy wissy.
Okay, well, thank you for saying that.
I'm
telling you,
sorry.
Thank you for apologizing.
Do you want to read it? Do you have it?
My original one?
Yes. Hey, we're not doing that right now because I got to get up early in the morning.
Okay, we're not going to do it, I guess. But if people want to reach out to me, I'd be happy.
I encourage you to reach out to Jason to hear that.
I will give you my actual bio, my autobiography, the real deal. You can go to the website and read some whatever the fuck that is. But if you want the real thing, you can come to me.
You think you know, but you have no idea.
You got no fucking idea.
I just want this to be a quality and honest program, and I feel like,
hey,
if we don't have our integrity, what do we have?
Let me ask you this: do you feel better that you got it off your chest?
It does help to talk about it,
yeah,
and to confront you face to face.
That's how I prefer confrontations.
And I could see you welling a little bit, and you apologize to me, so I appreciate that.
I don't like you hurting.
So
I've known you for a long time.
Thank you for apologizing to me. I accept your apology.
Thank you for forgiving me the way I forgave you when we were about 8 years old and you abandoned me on a bike ride. So, moving on.
I was not a
man. He's been holstering that one a while.
I do remember that. I don't remember a lot. I do remember that.
I was going to say that's something. If you remember,
I do remember. It.
Yeah, I know.
We have to take him for his word anytime he's like, "Yeah, in 1988, I scabbed my knee while watching this cartoon." We're like, "Yes, that sounds. We can't.
Sounds like something you did,
but
you freak."
I do remember that.
You actually remember this.
I was not a good kid, and it could be argued I am not a very good adult.
You're a nostalgiaholic.
I think, like most sociopaths, you've learned to blend in. There's something to be said of that.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. You know what? And if I include that in my next bio, I hope that you update the current bio.
Your growth as a sociopath? I'll do that just for you. You know what? I'll message Ben on Thursday.
Please message Ben.
I will. Ben, the fourth man. Old Ben White.
Old Ben White.
Old Ben White. Well, let's get into it.
Let's dish.
Let's do it. Deep House Dish. Rumor alert. So Rick Moranis in Gravedale High, alternatively known as just Gravedale High, was an animated series developed by Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Jason. Sorry. I'm sorry. For NBC's 1990 Saturday morning fall lineup. Now, to the uninitiated who may not know this, Jason loathes Hanna-Barbera. For most Hanna-Barbera fare he is not a fan of.
I don't like it.
So the show itself came out September 8th and ran until December 1st of 1990. Only 13 episodes. Again, it was non-syndicated. This was not a syndicated show. It was made specifically for NBC.
3 months.
Derek got us another stinker.
Yeah.
Stinky!
Well, it's fondly remembered by a lot of people, but...
This one's a double flush.
Double. Upper decker.
Yeah.
Now, the number one song at the time of release was Blaze of Glory.
Oh, the Bon Jovi.
By John Bon Jovi.
Oh, did we talk
Young
about
Guns
that?
too.
On the Radio Rewind
We talked
podcast?
about Bed of Roses and how we all thought it was that song.
Exactly.
I'm gonna lay you down in a bed of roses. None of us could tell you how Bed of Roses actually went.
Nope. But
right.
Bed of Roses sounds like it would be Blaze of Glory.
It really does, yeah.
Yes.
It
really does.
It's that just tempo and
It's that 90s power ballad shit.
As long as you got the syllables in there.
You can rip off yourself.
You really can.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
AC/DC has been doing it
John
for
Fogerty.
decades.
John Fogerty got taken to court for
That's
it.
true.
For ripping off himself?
Yeah. Creedence took him to court for his song, The Old Man. Is it The Old Man Down the Road? The Old Man.
I can't remember.
Down the road.
He essentially got sued for sounding like himself.
You know John Fogerty, right? He did Creedence Clearwater Revival. Yeah, he did all that fucking shit.
Yeah. Let's sue him because he sounds like him. The number one movie at the time was Ghost.
Oh, I got that one on VHS.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Sealed. I'm holding on to that one. Once Whoopi dies, whoo, buddy. Swayze already missed that window. And I think it's going to be Whoopi before
want the
it's
Whoopi
dead.
It is 100% going to be Whoopi before fucking Demi.
So,
There was when the men are killed and there's like spirits that come out of the shadows.
Like shadow ghouls.
If you're young, that's kind of
it was kind of terrifying.
And then he got that teacher from Fast Times that got killed on the subway, and now he's just haunting people. He's like, I just quit drinking coffee at Sanka. Have a heart. I'm a ghost.
I'm a ghost. Have a heart.
I look like Rocky Dennis.
Doesn't he teach? Jesus, that's pretty harsh. Doesn't he teach Patrick Swayze how to move things,
like force push?
Baby, let me show you how to do this. You gotta move this. You're doing fine. There's nothing to it. You gotta groove it. Come on and move this. Shake that body.
Get off my train! No. Get off! Get off! Get off! Get off!
So the show itself was developed and designed to kind of draft off of Rick Moranis' recent success with the Ghostbusters franchise, as well as Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, Wayne Zielinski.
Yeah, that's right. The show was created by... There are some fun facts about who was involved with the production of the show and the voice cast, like you mentioned on the last episode. So the show itself was created by David Kirscher. He is also known for An American Tale, Pirates of Dark Water, and he was apparently the creator of the Chucky animatronic for Child's Play.
Interesting. You said American Tail, the Fievel mouse to it. The kid that did the voice of Fievel was the voice of the kid in the Creepy Crawlers cartoon.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Cross-pollination.
That was last week's episode. Interesting.
Yeah.
So he was a practical effects guy that made the like automaton that is
Chucky.
Did he really?
Yeah.
For like the original film or like later? Okay.
Yeah. It was. That was a very strange and interesting fact I came across.
Was it a strange brew?
Well, take off, Ozer.
Does Creepy Crawlers have any strange brew crossover? Does Dave Thomas come?
Be a lot cooler if it did.
Their patties are fresh, never frozen.
Yeah. You got Mel Blanc doing an uncredited vocal role.
The Mel Blanc shout.
Yeah, he plays his dad.
The first and only time I ever saw that movie was at your house for Drunk at the Movies, and I did not realize that was Mel Blanc.
That was the second episode of Drunk at the Movies.
Oh, was it really? You were very excited to point that out to me. That was Mel Blanc, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, it sounds like Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's great.
You know, since this is a show that does talk about toys, and you brought up Strange Brew, one of my
the McFarlane figures.
One of my grails is tracking that down.
Oh, I had those.
Yeah,
but I opened them and had them prominently displayed. They used to talk. They had a diorama, little beer bottles, and a cooler.
Well, that's one you have to open it.
Those were fun.
Oh my god, that's one. I don't know how expensive.
Oh, good day. Good day. Good day. Good day. How's it going? I'm Bob McKenzie. It's my brother Doug.
How's it going?
We got two topics today: back bacon and long underwear. Like they're different topics, right? Okay. First topic. Well, I don't know which one should be first. Which one?
Go long underwear and then food as a reward.
Okay. Long underwear is our topic today, and my guest is my brother.
How's it going?
Just like on real shows.
Yeah.
My guest today is my brother Doug McKenzie. And,
how are you?
Good day. He's like an expert, right, on long underwear.
That's right.
Because he like dirties them so much.
Take off!
I didn't like it.
Geddy Lee.
I didn't like the movie. I didn't think it held up.
It's not great.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's
Thank
not,
you for saying that.
It's not fine cinema. So the series itself focused on the wacky misadventures of the human teacher, Mac Schneider, voiced by Moranis, who takes on a teaching job at Gravedale High.
He looks like Rick Moranis.
He does.
Yeah,
they're really leaning in there.
Yes, absolutely. Gravedale High is a school that, unbeknownst to him at the time, educates monstrous and ghoulish teenagers that are the latest hip, cool, and slick.
Oh,
hip stuff, cool stuff, slick stuff.
That sounds like something happening right now. Monster High.
Ooh.
I'm going to touch on that.
Just saying.
It's supposed to be like the updated, new, cool generation of classic movie monsters. So
yeah. Creature from Black Lagoon.
Oh, we're going to talk about him.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Now, typically, some sort of lesson was infused into each episode wherein not only the characters learn something, but the audience even walks away just a bit wiser.
Oh, do they teach me how to use a crosswalk? Thanks, Mask. I've done it twice since I learned about them.
No, but in true form, you learn not to pet strange dogs.
Okay.
I did not watch, because I don't think there is one, a Secret Galaxy video on this this franchise or this IP, whatever you want to call it. But
we're bringing fresh content for Jason.
I did watch the pilot episode.
Yeah.
And you watched a random episode, right?
About Gumbo. Monster Gumbo.
Monster Gumbo. The Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I watched episode 9 because there's a horse called Hoover in it.
How did you seek that out? That wasn't happenstance. You did it on purpose.
I did it quite deliberately.
Is the episode called A Horse Called Hoover?
No, it's called Franken Jockey.
How did that come about? Were you like, this is...
He remembered that?
when I was researching the show, and I was like, well, let me look up different episodes and like what have you. I'm going through, and I'm going through the episode guide. I get to episode 9, and it mentions a horse named Hoover. I'm like, oh well, that's the episode I got to watch to refresh myself here. I have to.
Yeah.
I'd be an idiot not to. The conceit of the show was very simple. The main class of monsters that we saw week to week were considered the troublemakers and challenging to teach, much in the same vein as the Sweat Hogs.
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
Up your nose with a rubber hose game.
Oh, come on. You can't kid us. I mean, you leave me no choice but to prove it. Hey, Carter, up your nose with a rubber hose. Hey, Carter, you are so low. You are so low that you could play handball up against the curb. See what I mean? The old Carter wouldn't have taken that.
He's right, Mr. Carter. If you was yourself today and Vinny said them things to you, well, you probably would have said something like, hey, Vinny, you know why you don't got no freckles? Because they probably slide off. And then you probably would have said, hey, Vinny, if you ever jumped off the George Washington Bridge, you'd leave a bathtub ring all around the Hudson River. The big finish. Hey, Vinny! Hey, tell me your mother!
Enough, Horse Shack, enough!
Did you see on Twitter Jen had that game? She commented on
Jen Mass,
Wow.
yeah. She had, I
thought you guys would just be impressed with the commercial alone. I didn't realize somebody would actually have that.
She's like, she commented, she's like, I actually have that game. I found it at a flea market. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Too funny.
So
don't touch the rubber hose.
Don't touch
don't know where that's been.
It may have been up someone's something.
Exactly.
Probably up somebody's nose.
No, that's not what I was going to
put it in a nice white vinegar solution overnight, let it clean up.
Get that patina washed off. Yeah, that rubber hose with patina.
It's not patina. It's not patina.
It's shit. It's poop-tina.
Poop-tina.
You ready to flush the poopy, sweetie?
Let me sing my song. Poop, 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 poop. I love you. Poop, 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 poop. I'll miss you.
What's happening?
Oh, and cover your ears.
Okay, say bye. We're gonna flush now.
Bye, Soupy. Hope you're okay.
Aw, my teeny Tina in a giant poop. Uh-oh, second flush.
Better than I remembered.
Yikes.
Yep. Well, I loved it, but I wish they didn't kill off my favorite character.
So I always love the third episode of the night.
It's the booze one.
I haven't drank tonight. I've just had.
Why not?
You're the host. You don't get to.
Why aren't you drinking?
You don't. Fuck you, asshole. You don't get to.
Is that on
you
purpose?
got to steer the ship.
It's on purpose.
Why is that? You trying to keep your faculties?
What?
You trying to keep your faculties about you?
That movie with Josh Hartnett?
You trying to keep your Josh Hartnett?
They made
about
more
you?
than one?
No, I'm more so trying to keep
I only have
my
the
fan for
faculty.
Jensen.
The sequel to Faculty is Faculties.
Someone's getting tenure.
Stars. Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's the log line.
That's the tag. That's the there it is.
Someone's getting tenure.
No, I don't drink as much these days.
Well, you're missing out because booze makes us feel good.
It makes me not feel my feelings no more.
Yeah. Just call me Tony, because it feels good.
It takes all my bad feelings and makes them good.
Yeah.
It's not addictive at all. So if they are the Sweat Hogs, that of course puts Max in the position of being Mr. Carter. So with the added element of being a fish out of water as well. Now, additionally, the entire town of Gravedale seems to function as a suburb of a neighboring town called Midtown. Gravedale...
So mid.
Town.
So mid.
Town.
Mid-energy. Beta.
I recently learned that I'm a gamma male. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Radioactive.
I can turn into the Hulk. I turn green, but my cock turns red as the devil's dick. You know that?
Well, there's a Red Hulk, too. Just if it turns gray, that's when you need to worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a thinking man's Hulk.
I ran into a cement wall when I was...
You didn't read that Jeff Loeb graphic novel?
Jesus
I'm hitting the deep cuts right now.
Damn, dude, you're just... Count it. Computer blue.
I got an audience of 1. That's all I was shooting for.
Shoot the J. Shoot it.
Yeah.
This guy's fucking hitting threes outside the paint left and right. Gravedale, the town, is obviously populated entirely by other monsters as well as ghoulish sites and areas such as Eastside Cemetery and Midtown Mausoleum. That makes up the town. So with this very short kind of synopsis, you kind of have the idea of what this show is all about.
Okay.
You, of course, have your main monsters that are part of the main class. Vinny Stroker, he's like a vampire Fonzie. Frankentyke, who annoyed the shit out of me. Frankenstein meets Bart Simpson to the point that he says, "Man," like every other word.
Frank Welker.
It's
a voice that it was like when I heard it, I'm like, that sounds like several other characters that I can't quite place, but it's like
it was Frank Welker through the lens
the
of.
dude's got so many credits.
It's
Frankentyke
is his name?
Frankentyke.
Yeah.
But that's like...
He's a dinky guy.
He's a little dinky shit.
But you think about like a child, but these are high school kids.
Yeah.
That's a weird
he's
name.
accelerated.
That's a weird Oh, is it like Head of the Class where they got that little Asian kid in there? The kid's like 8.5. He's a
the
senior in
Arvid
high school.
England of,
Is that his name?
Of Gravedale High.
If that's the kid's name from Head of the Class, you can go to hell. You fucking know that kid's name?
The dude from Nickelodeon that got canceled with the
That's Dennis.
Dennis Blunden. That's his character's name.
Oh, Dan Schneider, you mean?
Yeah. He likes feet.
He does like feet.
He likes
inappropriate.
He's like young girls' feet. I never got it.
Yeah, they look the same as anybody else's. Gross.
Yeah.
I'm not grossed out by feet, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but I'm not like, oh. Yeah. I mean, if that's your thing, just don't be a creep about it.
And young feet.
That's
young is
creep
where it
about
gets
it.
weird.
Yeah.
Like a young Ariana Grande. He's got like...
And she got baby feet. Like the last name's misleading. Yeah, she's not Uma Thurman.
Yeah. Whatever. He made a lot of money and got out unscathed, seemingly.
Well, we're talking about him. We're gonna blow the powder keg's gonna blow the top.
Blow the top right off. You had Reggie Moonshroud. He was a geeky werewolf. He was voiced by Barry Gordon, not that Barry Gordon.
Yeah.
Barry Gordon that voiced Donatello in Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Yeah, J.P. Ghastly, an affluent ghoul. He was also voiced by Frank Welker, but in a Peter Lorre.
What's his name?
The character, J.P. Ghastly.
No, the
voice actor, Frank Welker.
He said something ghoul. Yeah?
He was an affluent ghoul, like kind of a rich kid.
Oh, okay. Ghoul. I thought that was his name, Affluent Ghoul.
He had his hump surgically removed.
Okay. But yeah, it was Frank Welker kind of doing a Peter Lorre impression. Gil Waterman, he was a lagoon monster, like creature from the Black Lagoon, and a surfer dude.
Yeah.
Voiced by Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah, Bad News Bears, Kelly Leak.
Yeah, post Kelly Leak, way pre Horseshack.
No, he's like in
Did you say Horseshack or Rorschach?
Rorschach.
He's in his early 20s or mid 20s at this point, right?
Horseshack is something else altogether.
Yeah. This is
at least in his mid 20s
because he was also Reboot Kruger.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And that was after Watchmen. Like he wasn't really doing shit. So voice work makes sense, I guess, you know? Nobody knows it's really you, and you're working, you're doing something, but, 13 episodes.
He's an adult. He's an adult when he does this.
Yeah.
Full on. I bet he's 25, 28, somewhere in there.
Bad News Bears, he was a late teen, and that was late 70s.
He was a late teen?
In mid to late teen, maybe?
He's riding a motorcycle and smoking cigarettes.
Oh, is he really?
In the first one. So, yeah.
Well, Tatum O'Neal was like a child smoking cigarettes in,
but
I
would put him at about 16 or 17 in the first Bad News Bears, and that's in the 70s. They made 2 sequels.
Was he in them both?
He might have been at least one. Breaking Training, where they go to the Astrodome and they're running around and they're like, let them play. And then they let them play.
The chant worked.
The chant worked at the Astrodome, and the Bears had their time in the dome.
One was good.
Watch it now on Max.
Just do one. Don't do the other 2.
Oh, and then they went to Japan with Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
William Devane was the second coach. They got rid of Mathau after the first one.
No.
They had 3 coaches.
No. Mathau didn't come back. They didn't get rid of him.
Mathau did not come back.
Mathau
did not get rid of him.
Mathau says, I am a legend. Fuck off.
Fuck off.
We made a good one, and one is
and
where
now I'm walking away.
They had the Billy Bob Thornton for the reboot, which I enjoyed.
I enjoyed the reboot.
Dazed and Confused, Richard's Linklater.
That young lady died. Did you know that? The young lady in that, the young girl, she died a couple years after the.
Was Dan Schneider the responsible?
No, I think it was a car accident or something.
Okay,
but they
stamp out that fuse there, Powder.
All right.
Yeah, that young girl who played like the Tatum O'Neal version in the update. Yeah, she passed away young, real young.
Sucks, dude.
Yeah. How does that relate to Gravedale High? You think?
Very
She's
little.
Buried.
Very little. Additional.
There's more of gravy than of grave about you.
Let's just
I'm getting to Kinsey.
Go ahead and move these away from me real quick. Move these beers away from me.
Jesus Christ. Additional characters were Cleopatra. She was a heavyset mummy voiced by Ricky Lake. You had Sid.
Yeah, how? That's horrible.
I know.
That's horrible.
Everything about that is awful.
You know what's funny? It sounds like you guys both watched episodes I didn't, but I can't remember who says it, but there is a line in the episode I saw, the pilot episode, where it says, no, I think it's the invisible guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's next on my list.
He's rapping. In the first episode, he raps, and he basically breaks down all the names and the characteristics of all the characters. He's kind of giving you kind of an exposition.
Okay.
And when it comes to Cleopatra, he says, whether she's talking or eating, her mouth is always moving.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's literally maybe the only line I remember.
And Ricky Lake was like, "Yes, I will do this.
Yeah, I'm a big fucking cow. I need.
They
to cash
didn't have to cast somebody who had a weight issue in that role.
Yeah.
It could have been a skinny girl.
Yeah, you very well could have done that. I know in time.
That's what I feel.
I know
is
in time
the lower blow.
Yeah, I know in time Ricky Lake got her weight under control.
Yeah,
and led a healthier lifestyle. But
what a slap in the face to the character Cleopatra too. In her time,
it was 13 episodes.
The most beautiful woman in the world, Cleopatra, and they said we're going to name you Cleopatra.
Yeah,
what a slap in the face. Even back then.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the Invisible Man. You had Sid. He was a play on that, and given his, he was a little more comedic. The name Sid. It's been posited he was kind of a play on Sid Caesar.
Oh, I was thinking sudden instant death syndrome.
Was voiced by one of my favorite.
No, you weren't.
Jesus Christ. Sid was voiced by one of my favorite voice actors, Maurice LaMarche.
Yeah, Animaniacs.
Yeah, he voiced the brain. He voiced Egon. He voiced Inspector Gadget, and he voiced.
Oh, did he do Inspector Gadget?
He did, and Kif Kroker on Futurama. But my favorite of that list is Brain.
Yeah,
because it's very Orson Welles.
It is very well.
I love it. Love it.
He did Kif on Futurama.
Yes, he did.
I was thinking about the scene the other day.
The jackass wants to see you in his quarters.
Have the boy fetch my clothes.
The boy?
You fetch my clothes.
I love it. I love it. You had Blanche. She was a Southern Belle zombie, kind of and a mall rat as well. She was a play on Blanche Dubois from Streetcar, voiced by Sherry Belafonte.
Deo. Daughter.
Related to?
Deo daughter.
Deo daughter.
It's a what's his name?
Harry.
Yes, Harold Belafonte, his daughter. That's really his daughter?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then the other main cast member, you had Doozer. She was a Gorgon, Medusa kind of character, kind of a Valley girl. She was voiced by Kimmy Robertson, Notable
I know who this is.
Yeah, playing Lucy Moran in Twin Peaks.
The sheriff's secretary.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the voice, but when I looked on IMDb, I was like, "Oh yeah, her." Okay.
Yep.
And she's got a fair amount of credits in that time.
Oh hell yeah!
I don't really know what she's doing now, but yeah.
5 years ago, they did that like Showtime season of Twin Peaks. I bet she was on it. I think they got everyone back that was still alive.
What about the log?
The log lady, I think seriously, she was in it or just died right before they started making it. The log lady she was in the running though. Yeah.
There were, of course, naturally several other background monsters that acted as nods or parodies of well-established sci-fi creatures and movie monsters. And there was, of course, the teaching staff, the most notable of which included Headmistress Crone. She was a witch kind of character voiced by Georgia Brown. She was a star of stage and musicals. You had Boneyard, who was a ghoulish undertaker voiced by Brock Peters. Another classic actor. He was known for being in Porgy and Bess. He played Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what his role was in Soylent Green.
Not Boo Radley.
He was not Boo Radley.
Bless you.
Ooh, bless you. And he was in Ghosts of Mississippi.
Oh,
yeah.
With Gene Hackman.
Was it
98-year-old? No, wait, that's Mississippi Burning.
Yeah, Ghosts of Mississippi, I think, was James Woods.
No idea.
It was around the time you had several Oscars.
There's not a lot of movies about Mississippi.
Not enough. We were talking a lot of cartoons, and we briefly kind of talk about the characters and the voice actors. This is the most decorated as far as like.
No kidding.
No, there's more. Just you wait.
But can you answer like how did that come to be? To get these high level people, these known
they dangle
folks.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Was Rick Moranis hot?
Dude, he was hot in like the
Honey,
80s and the 90s, man.
Hey, we got this new cartoon. We got Rick Moranis attached to it. He's coming off of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You know, he had that small role
He's
in Ghostbusters.
typecast as such a dork. Does that dorkness carry that much heat? To where you can get all
it didn't
these other
last
people?
long, so clearly not with the youth.
Well, and it wasn't just that. It was. You think of like how many, whether it's cult classic or things, all of us watch at least once a year. Rick Moranis was in a number of very, in my opinion, classic things. He was in Little Shop of Horrors, Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, My Blue Heaven.
He also did a bit supporting role in Parenthood, which Steve Martin was a lead in. That was a pretty big dramedy in that time frame too. So yeah. I mean, Moranis was working
really
during this time frame.
The only reason why Moranis kind of pulled back, his wife got sick.
Yeah.
His wife got sick, and he tended
That's
to her.
why we got
and
Peter Scolari in that other Honey movie.
His wife passed away, unfortunately, and he had plenty of money. He focused on just taking care of his kids.
And then he came back like 5 years ago or so.
Roughly.
Yeah. And now he's back out there.
Yeah, now he's kind of back out there. I guarantee you if...
Gravedale High is coming back.
If Rick Moranis said, okay, I'm ready to get back on the horse, people would be dying to cast him.
I'm not saying he's nothing. I'm just saying, like, why would a guy who's having so much success in films, because even at that time, there is a big chasm between TV actors and movie actors, let alone Saturday morning cartoon actors.
Right.
Well, if someone was that hot in Hollywood in films, which is the top of the top, then why is that guy doing voice acting? And how are all these other names from the past and stuff that aren't necessarily known as voice actors getting involved in this show? What happened with this show?
I think how it came about was you started seeing there's a particular word that seemed to have been invented in the 80s, and it permeated, kind of drawing people into exploring something with the property or
synergy.
I was going to say something else, but synergy does.
What were you going to say?
Toyetic.
That's a made-up word. I've heard of synergy.
It is
before.
no toyetic is
in
made up.
Holograms.
So is synergy. Synergy is a made-up word that's now just accepted as part of the lexicon. Toyetic was made up by assholes in a boardroom on how to make a movie more profitable to get toy sales.
I drive a 2015 Toyetic.
How's that working out?
It's a very reliable vehicle.
How often do you have to change oil?
What's the maintenance on that?
Maintenance once every 6 months ago. Yeah, I'll change.
Cool. And that's per volume.
That's not bad. Jesus Christ. I think what happened, because you also around the same time you had an Ed Grimley cartoon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
There was
like who is that for?
Yeah, that's one I'm going to want to talk
Martin
about.
Short, but
that's not for anybody.
Yeah,
no one should be watching that.
Yeah,
is that going to be an episode?
Yeah, because it's such a what the fuck thing that I'm like, we got to talk about this because it's. Who said yes to this?
Yeah.
Who said yes to what we're going to do with the MC Hammer Talking Shoes cartoon?
That's another weird one. So that's the thing. You have this weird period in like the late 80s into
greenlighting everything.
The early 90s where it's just like, and you even had it in prime time. Like every comedian wound up with, at the very least, a fucking pilot.
She used to be an actress.
Oh, really? Did she do anything out of scene?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
Pilot? What's a pilot?
Well, you know the shows on TV?
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick TV shows is they make one show. That show's called a pilot. Then they show that one show to the people who pick shows, and on the strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make more shows. Some get chosen and become television programs. Some don't, become nothing. She started in one of the ones that became nothing.
You started seeing it on Saturday morning, too, especially if it was anybody that had any remote appeal with kids. And you would see this with how Ed Grimley wound up in this, I don't have a fucking clue. One can make the same fucking argument about Pee-wee's Playhouse, because it started out very adult with the Groundlings, but it somehow got segued into being a kid's show and was done very well. But you had other shows that came about, such as Camp Candy. You had Lil Rosie, a Roseanne Barr-centric cartoon.
I forgot about Lil Rosie.
Yeah. Fox Kids ended up having Life with Louie. You ended up having, granted this was very different, but you had Bobby's World, which was Howie Mandel. Mm-hmm. So there was this weird period where it's like, let's do this. Let's take this comedian or let's take this actor that somehow appeals to families or somehow appeals here, and let's try building a cartoon around it. And I think that's kind of what they tried doing.
My guess, specifically what you're talking about there, is a lot of times comics would show up on The Tonight Show. Johnny, gives them a nod, and he anoints the next person as far as a stand-up comic to be the next big thing. And the next day, their phones are ringing off the hook, basically with people doing retainer deals to basically say, hey, we want to pay you essentially to do nothing. We just want to holster you so you're not out there doing anything until we find
anybody
what
else
works for you.
Yeah.
And they really did pay them a ton of money to do that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the default was if time was running out or something, they say
cartoon.
Let's do a cartoon.
Yeah.
There could
I
be
don't think
something
you're
like
wrong about
But that doesn't apply to Rick Moranis though. He was already in movies.
Yeah.
This is 1994.
Well, they even at the outset of describing the show, the goal was we want to draft off of Rick Moranis's popularity. So I think the goal was a monster cartoon. That's an easy sell.
Yeah, Groovy Ghoulies.
Drac Pack. Drac Pack, great example.
From the monsters of the past comes a new generation dedicated to reversing the evil image of their forefathers. Under the leadership of none other than Count Dracula, known as Big D, 3 teenagers formed the do-gooder group, named the Drac Pack. With special powers, they can transform into super mighty monsters and use their skills against all evildoers, especially the diabolical Dr. Dread and his renegade rascals Toad, Fly, Mullyman, and Vampira, a group known as Ogre, the organization of generally rotten enterprises. It's right versus wrong, good over greed, niceness against naughtiness. That's the dedication of the terrific trio, Frankie, Howler, and Drac Jr., the Drac Pack.
It'd been a while, but
Yeah.
there have been variations of this throughout the years.
And you even have it now. We'll get into it. You still draft off of classic movie monsters. I think they looked at it as, well, this is an easy sell. It's Saturday morning. It's Rick Moranis. It's classic movie monsters, but we're going to make them hip and cool and stuff. We're going to have toys and lunchboxes and everything else. We'll dive into that, but as far as the rest of the cast, speaking of big names, you had Coach Cadaver, who was a hot-headed zombie who was kind of a bigot. He hated humans. He was voiced by Jonathan Winters, who had a storied career, and in the 80s did a shit ton of voice acting. I remember it was one of my least favorite episodes of new Scooby-Doo movies was Jonathan Winters. I remember what the fuck is this?
Was he playing himself?
Yes.
Was he really?
Yes, he was.
I want Phyllis Diller, not Jonathan Winters.
Yes. Give me Sandy Duncan.
Yeah, with her...
Give me the one with the Globetrotters.
Challenged Sandy Duncan.
That's right.
But he also voiced Grandpa Smurf. He voiced Bigelow in the 85 Pound Puppies movie that preceded the syndicated show every Saturday. You had another one that showed up a lot was Chef Sal Manila. That was another. Welker was working overtime on the show because I think he did about 4 or 5 characters. Miss Webner was a Spider-Woman voiced by Sandra Gould. That was the nosy Mrs. Kravitz on Bewitched. So again, you're having people with a very storied history. Miss Dirge, she was a Bride of Frankenstein character. She was romantically interested in Max. She was voiced by Eileen Brennan, Mrs. Peacock and Clue.
Yeah.
And speaking of Clue, you had... What was his name? It was
Colonel Mustard with the pipe in the library.
Oh, boy. Busted.
Close, but no cigar. You had Tim Curry as a 5,000-year-old mummy teacher named Mr. Turner.
Oh, nice.
So, you had sweet-ass Tim Curry, who, aside from being on the stage, aside from being in TV, aside from being in amazing movies we all loved as kids, he will come up more in future episodes because he did a shit ton of voice acting. I know you want to do a Freakazoid episode, and that has one of my favorite Tim Curry voice acting roles ever.
There you go.
Where he plays a Dr. Moreau-esque over-the-top villain. I love it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing ever. So you had this amazing cast, and I think how you got these people to do it was the 80s into the 90s it was everybody gets a show, everybody gets a cartoon, toy line, and money out the ass. I think this may be a reach, but something that might have affected it is, people kind of got wind of the sick-ass deal Jack Nicholson had with Batman. Jack Nicholson made a shit ton of money off of that movie, and it had to do with merchandising. So you probably had a lot of these names and a lot of these people saying, well, that's where the money's at. Appealing to kids, getting a toy line, and
Jack
I'm getting
Nicholson
a piece of that action.
Is 2 on the call list, on the call sheet for that movie. You just named 15 names. Not all these people are going to get deals where they make money on the back end of the merchandising.
Can't get told no if you don't ask. Then you give it a shot. But I think it's in that same vein. You have people who saw okay, Rick Moranis is hot. This is going to be a new cartoon on NBC. I mean, this was before they started cracking down on Saturday morning guidelines, so it was still a free-for-all. You still had people who had the mentality of okay, well, Saturday morning, that is a all-you-can-eat buffet of money and direct marketing towards kids. But the show only lasted 13 episodes. So I couldn't find anything necessarily in my research that flat out said why this show failed. Each one of us watched episodes of it.
Yeah,
each one of us,
Gumbo one.
You watched the Gumbo one, which had a big old fat Cajun in it.
It did. Voiced by Boss Hogg from Dukes of Hazzard.
I watched the Frankenjockey episode, which had Hoover the horse. You watched the pilot.
Right.
I think we all can agree that the opening theme song was a banger.
All the school bells are ringing. Now it's time to begin. It's about our school that we're singing, where the misfits get in.
You can fall, you can slip and slide, but don't mess with my great surprise.
Please take a seat, yeah, we're dying to meet ya. Go with the spirit and chillingly cheer it. Hooray for Gravedale.
It's a good opening theme song.
That's what made me remember the show. I was like, oh yeah, this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So I've clearly watched at least 1 or 2 episodes of this. I don't remember it very well.
I'm sure you're editing in here, but it's a lot of like sweet like guitar shredding. And stuff. Yeah.
Which about late 80s and the early 90s, we'll think about CBS Story Break, that sick-ass guitar lick.
That's a good one.
That was
Or
a
the
tasty
Kids
one.
Incorporated.
Kids
theme
Incorporated
song.
as well.
That's got a good, tasty Frank Stallone guitar lick.
Is that Stallone who did that?
You guessed it.
No, just
Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
Why do you guys think this show failed? Visionaries, we know why it failed. Creepy Crawlers, pretty much sussed that out. Why'd this one take a shit? Because I personally, I can't figure it out.
Monsters are fun, right? And they're doing takes on classic monsters, so that's fun. I think it wasn't very well written. I don't know how well written any of these things really have to be.
I enjoyed this one more than the last couple we watched. You know, I will say.
Well, tonight we're recording 3, and the first one was Visionaries. I think I liked it more than Visionaries.
Yeah.
Creepy Crawlers, I really kind of like that, even though I didn't watch the cartoon, and that wasn't a big factor. I just looked at the franchise as a whole.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like the writing was dumb, and it was so time stamped in what was like.
Yeah.
The Invisible Guy was doing Michael Jackson impressions. There was rapping. All the characters felt disingenuous. They were leaning so hard into like things that like maybe a parent would recognize. Yeah. Like there's a guy doing a Rodney Dangerfield impression coming off the bus at one point that I saw.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that going on, and it felt stupid. It felt like it was talking down to kids, or just not be like just get a good voice actor to do a good voice. Don't try to mimic Larry Fine from the Three Stooges. You know, like just fucking do a good voice.
Yeah,
and then go from there. But a lot of it was just, I think the voice acting was maybe kind of shitty. It's kind of a precursor to like, you know, around 2007-ish maybe. It started to be like, hey, all these huge budget computer animated movies by like DreamWorks and Pixar were just getting like A-list actors to be in it, and that's the appeal.
To entertain the parents.
Versus people who spend their whole career honing a craft of being a voice actor. I'm not saying some of the A-list actors I think can do a good job.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to the theater to be like,
oh, John Travolta's that tiger.
Yeah, that pillowcase. It's fucking Jack Black. I know that pillowcase is Jack Black. I don't give a fuck about that. Make a good story, make a good thing. And this is an example of like a killer's row or a list of just not a list, but like notable names,
very notable,
that are actors. I don't know if that translates to good voice acting.
Right.
Well, and I think kind of to your point, one of the most notable veterans in this is Frank Welker. He was in so many things we watched growing up. And Frank Welker is an amazing voice actor. Frankentyke made me want to put my head in a fucking oven. I couldn't stand that. Like, man, like left and right. I think you make a very solid point that it was talking down the kids, and it was, I kind of hate using this word, but a little too derivative. You know, especially when you consider Frankentyke, like, oh, we need a Bart Simpson in this show, because that's exactly what he was. It's like all you're doing is you're taking a big name and now you're just gonna fucking copy and paste. That's all you're doing.
And we all know how easy it is to copy and paste, and how much work that could take off of someone's workload.
It can take a lot of work
if they were going to copy and paste.
But sometimes just doing a copy and paste, I mean, it kind of sucks.
It could, but like in other cases, it could be like just like, man, what a load taken off someone to get an incredible result.
Well, I mean, one might think this, but even, you know, if you take it in a more serious route, I mean, you try pulling that shit in college, you're going to get flunked or expelled.
Yeah.
So
but
really,
if you're just doing it for something like a podcast or something, like it doesn't really matter, and you could just copy and paste something and everyone would be happy.
Yeah, but you see, some people sometimes just have this little thing called Why are you holding his arm?
Just fucking say what you're gonna say. Me and Dustin are having a moment here.
Called integrity. Integrity.
Right.
You know, and they just want to put a little more effort into it. More effort, certainly, than I would say a bullshitted paper in college, or certainly more effort into how Rick Moranis' Gravedale High came about.
Okay. All right.
Maybe it is just
there's something to what you're saying.
Maybe it is just a simple, three guys getting together in a well-appointed living room doing a podcast about toys, comic books, TV shows, and movies.
Well-appointed living room. I'll take it. I don't even know what it means.
But, maybe somebody just wants to put a little extra effort in, not just do that quick copy-paste.
Maybe. Also, maybe not.
Agree to disagree.
Hey, remember when Frankentyke was like, "Eat my bolts, man"?
Oh, hey, Keg.
Frankentyke was like,
I did not like that character.
He's like cowabunga, dude. What? Come on, that's fucking Bart Simpson.
What? I did not care for that. That's the thing. I didn't. Aside from the theme, for what it was, I don't think the animation was terrible.
No, I've seen much worse.
But yeah, no, I think it
had potential.
Yeah, it had potential, but I think it did. It talked down or dumbed down or was way too derivative of other things. Like, we need a Bart Simpson. We need this.
And I don't, it's something that was around, 18 years ago and just had a reboot. It's shades of Clone High, because Clone High was a show that was on MTV or MTV2 in like 2002, 2004, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
and it was like saying here's all these historical characters from the past. Now they're all cloned and in high school. Yeah. What does that look like?
Yeah, Cleopatra was in there.
Yeah, she was the sexy version of it. And then they just brought that back on like Paramount or something.
She had a glow up.
Yeah,
from Gravedale High,
real solid glow up.
But those are notable characters that they brought into a high school situation, and same thing with this. These are classic movie monsters that they took. There is something to that. It can work. Clone High didn't necessarily work either when Oz season. I don't know how well this new season was received.
Cult favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
Still has one of my favorite sayings in it. Slamming Pumas, bro. I don't know why I love that line, but I love that line.
Was that
the professor says it to like the cabal of generals and stuff?
I don't remember that.
But it is kind of crazy that it didn't work. Could it work today? Absolutely, it could, because you kind of already see it. You'd mentioned it, the Monster High franchise. Mm-hmm. That's wildly popular.
Well, and that was popular when my daughter Drew was
it's been around
younger.
For
my daughter
while.
was into it.
Yeah, she had a lot
at least
of those
10 to 15
dolls.
years.
Yeah, and now there's like a live touring.
There's a stage show like So Much Turtles Live.
Yeah, they were supposed to be at the Peoria Civic Center. It got canceled. But like Brianna and I were both like, "Wait, Monster High's still relevant?"
Oh,
Oh,
hell yeah, it is.
It's crazy. Like that's a very successful
like Bluey
franchise,
is coming to town. I've heard of Bluey being mentioned, but like I haven't heard anybody talk about Monster High since I was buying the toys.
You're at a point now where Monster High almost borders on the similar territory as He-Man as well.
I mean, they had books. They had a lot of Monster High themed products, but I guess I didn't realize that property had those legs. And
absolutely, it does.
So like
with
that,
kids and adult collectors, right?
So
now.
It shows what Gravedale High was missing was like a Rick Moranis Bratz doll. Variant.
Big eyes, big head, small waist.
That would have made this show work.
If they just
pouty lips,
they just put some big tits, big monster tits.
What you gotta listen? This is look. It's marketing 101. You gotta get them tits out there. All right, sex sells. All right, That's how we did it back in my day.
Honey, I blew up my tits.
That's how Dad did it. That's how we did it, and it's worked out pretty good so far. All right, sweet cheeks, go get me a sandwich. But you have Monster High that is still wildly relevant. You still have collectors buying new shit from Mattel Creations, and you have it in the toy aisle for kids as well. There's shows of it. Another example would be Vampirina. That's little more of a younger demographic, but it's a kids show. There's usually lessons involved. It's monster based. One would make the argument, short-sighted marketing people say, well, it's a girl show. No, it's a kid show. Boys and girls both like it. And they do a great job of having little lessons in there. The animation's not that bad for what it is and has great appeal. I think you could do a Gravedale High in that same vein. If you followed more of a model like Monster High and Vampirina, something like that, absolutely you can make this work nowadays.
Is the proper name of this show Rick Moranis in Gravedale High?
That is the proper name of it. And like even the title card for like the show, like after they did the intro, it would say Rick Moranis in Gravedale High.
That's interesting because if I'm 8 years old,
yeah, that's not carrying any weight.
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
The kids, my birthday's coming up. I want a Rick Moranis in a Gravedale High action figure.
Yeah, if anything,
they say Gravedale High.
Yeah, you're just watching it and you're like, that guy kind of looks familiar. And then when you watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids the next time, you're like, oh, that's that guy from that cartoon. Yeah,
See,
that's it.
No one's recognizing him by name for that demographic of children to watch it.
Most
no one's
children weren't.
Yeah, so that's
I really liked Rick Moranis when I was a kid, so that did draw me to the show. Because I loved Little Shop of Horrors when I was a kid. I loved Ghostbusters.
Well, you're like 11, 12 when this comes out, right?
I was 8.
Well, what year? I thought this was 94, no?
No, 1990. Creepy Crawlers was 94, was that cartoon. This was 1990.
Okay.
September 1990, I still lived in East Peoria.
So you would recognize that name, Rick Moranis, at that age?
Yes, I did.
All right. I would guess you're in the minority. I could be wrong.
I'm very much the minority.
Yeah, the show didn't last, so
yeah.
Everybody that watched it's in the minority.
There weren't enough Dereks out there being weird kids.
So you remember watching this when you were young, and did you enjoy? I assumed you enjoyed it if you kept watching it.
Yeah. The episodes I saw, I liked it. I thought I had an obsession with Universal movie monsters.
Well, did you have any of the toys, or were there toys?
That's the thing. There wasn't really much product for this. There wasn't an action figure line. There wasn't, to my knowledge, or from what I read, any kind of home release or anything like that. The toys you got were 4 McDonald's toys for
was Cleopatra one of them?
Yeah, she was.
I'm gonna look it up to see what that goes for on eBay right now.
She was a weeble wobble.
4 seems small. Was it coupled with another property at the time?
No.
Okay, that was just their line for a few months. Was Gravedale High, and there's only 4 different ones.
Yeah, I think it was 4, and there was a Cleopatra. It was a weeble wobble.
In a Weeble's haunted house, Weebles wobble all about, and it's a real exciting place to be. A smiling ghost with glowing face has a secret hiding place, and that's not all, there's plenty more to see. Cause a Weeble's haunted house is a great place to be. Weeble's haunted house, including glow-in-the-dark Weeble ghost from Romper Room.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Is that it?
Yeah, right there on the left.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
You can get all 3. You can get the invisible guy and
the fourth one's missing. It was Vinny Stroker.
Rick Moranis wasn't even one of the action figures released?
$8.97.
No, it was just 4 of the monsters.
Oh, there you go. There's
Vinny. Okay.
There's the whole set of 4.
You gotta have Rick Moranis. He's the namesake of the show.
Nope. That was it. That was the only toys.
You can get them for $7.50 for the set of 4.
You know what? I'll do it.
Halloween decorations.
I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
As far as like any research into any kind of revitalization or anything being done with the name, the only thing I found, there's a band out of Norwich. Is it Norwich or Norwich, United Kingdom?
That's a good question. I'd say Norwich.
I think it's called Westminster Abbey. Isn't that right?
Norwich City
it's called Piccadilly Circus.
Is a soccer club.
Thank you.
So yeah, probably Norwich. Yeah.
No, there's a band out of there called Gravedale High,
featuring Rick Moranis.
Their Twitter has been inactive since 2016. They haven't really posted anything.
Tell you a story I seen you never dream. Little ego lady, but you just dig out the seams. Doctor King's way to test on mine. You're about to die, yeah, super for a time. See your hollow family. What does that mean? There was a lot of the dance, raise your hands and this is me.
So aside from people making their own things on like Etsy, to kind of, because there is a fan base. A shout out to one of our friends, Eric from Hey Internet, Eric here. He loved this show, remembered this show, is excited for this episode. Him and I have had a couple conversations about Rick Moranis and Gravedale High, and it dovetailed into weird things like the wacky world, the completely mental world of Ed Grimley. I still can't believe
that the name of that show?
Yes.
Wow.
Never
Which,
watched
believe it or not, I remember when that show was on NBC.
I remember, and I
didn't
watch it.
I forgot about it for years until our area, Continental Cablevision, got Cartoon Network.
Okay, so this is, you said there's not a lot in terms of the future for this show.
Yeah, I think the future could be doing something like Monster High or Vampirina with it.
There's no need. There's no need.
Yeah, there's no need because those two already are killing it.
That and you would have to buy the property of Gravedale. There's no need to do that. When you look back at like the other shows we've done, like Brave Star or Visionaries, there's a mythology there. There's like a story and a history. I don't feel like Monster or the Gravedale High has that.
They're piggybacking. It's like an implied.
Yes, it's just saying, hey, here are these monsters.
Yeah.
We're in high school. The end. Now, there's a nice simplicity in that.
Sure.
But it's not like this big, deep mythology that you'd be purchasing and building upon with a new property.
Not a shit ton of world building.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I could just come out with another high school-looking Frankenstein with no real backstory. You know, you don't need to do anything with it. And I personally would not be interested if they did.
But this teenage Frankenstein, get this. He's a pyromaniac. Not afraid of fire. Fucking
subverting
loves
expectations.
Usually the villagers are coming out with big torches and shit. You don't care about that.
He's like, bring it on. I'm a new Frankenstein. Fire don't scare me.
How's that screwball treating you there?
I like whiskey.
Whiskey is fun and delicious.
I do like drinking a little bit of whiskey every once in a while.
I do love it. But yeah, no, there was outside of the Happy Meal toys, no lunch boxes, no nothing.
I didn't even know these were Happy Meal toys.
Yeah, when we took a break between shows, I was outside and Dustin was outside, and he mentioned something about toys, and I was like, no, except for Happy Meal toys. He was like, "There's Happy Meal toys." I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to talk about
that's
it."
That's actually a really good Dustin.
I do a great Dustin. It's right up there with my.
Where do you go mentally when you do that?
I call it the Mind Palace, and it's just like this.
That sounds nice.
It's just this place in my brain where like everything's stored, and I just go through it. Like
it's like my Duddits cabinets.
Exactly, it's like your Duddits cabinets.
There's daylight.
Yeah.
Mine are cavernous.
Belafonte.
I mean, it's like I'm jumping in. I jump into Dustin. I jump into Chris Penn. I jump into Wyatt from Weird Science. It just comes to me. I jump into Miley.
They're all in the.
Or it's
palace.
not so much my impression of Miley. It's my impression of Kevin doing an impression of Miley, because that's the real treat.
It's like all of us doing George Bush.
It's the Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
It's the Dana Carvey effect.
Not gonna die.
Nagada.
1,000 points of light.
Nagada.
Nagada.
So, but you have a mind palace, and all these things are stored there, and you can access them at any time. And in there is Dustin, and ultimately your perfect impression of him.
Yes, I'm ever present in the mind palace.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm blown away.
I am Doctor Strange.
What's that?
I can astral project to the mind palace.
Sure. Let's get that beer away from you.
Why don't you go ahead and just slide that over to Jason if you don't mind.
Are we grading now?
Let's give it a grade. Let's go ahead and give it a grade.
Hold on a second. One last question.
Yeah.
Toy line emerges. Do you buy it?
Like if they came out with one?
Frankentyke, I'm buying it for him.
There's no...
He's getting a Visionaries gift exchange.
Are you saying... Shit. Are you saying... Had there been a toy line?
No, there wasn't.
No, now.
There wasn't. But
if somebody now is like, you know what? We need to...
Mondo Toys is coming out with a very affordable line.
But you live and die by that, right? All these new toy lines coming out and stuff from the past.
I find it very interesting.
Someone says, hey, Gravedale High, we're going to bring out limited edition 7 figures of Rick Moranis and all the fucking crazy monsters and shit. do you say, you know what? Yeah, I would like to invest in that.
I would possibly buy one.
You gotta see that sculpt.
I gotta see them sculpts first.
You say one. Do you have a figure in mind that you would want? Gil's the surfer guy.
Yeah. I'd get that one. I like the design. Creature from outside of werewolves in general. Creature from the Black Lagoon was my favorite movie monster. And he was a surfer dude, man. And that was done rather well. That didn't drive me nuts like Frankentot.
Yeah.
Or Frankentype.
Triggered.
If they came out with them and like the 3D renders look good, I would pre-order Gil.
Yeah, you don't need the whole set.
I don't want the whole set. Maybe Vinny, because he was kind of a cool looking vamp.
Okay.
I think they did a pretty decent job on that. But if it was like, nope, you can only choose one. We were coming out with 7, but you, Derek J. Hoover, are only allowed to pick one. Gil.
Okay.
In a heartbeat. That's the one I would get.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So let's grade this son of a bitch. Dustin, why don't you start us with the grading this time?
I mean, this did appeal to me in some capacity as a kid, because I do recall at least watching a handful of episodes. And now knowing how few episodes there were, the fact that I probably saw a quarter of them and had forgotten about it, like, I guess I would be considered a regular viewer of said program.
A de facto regular viewer.
You know, it didn't last, but if it had stuck around longer, chances are I may have watched more episodes. I have no idea. I think it's interesting. It wasn't doing anything new.
Yeah.
But it appealed to me enough that I would probably give it a B-.
Okay.
You know, but again, it's not super original. You're piggybacking off of identity and IPs that existed before, and you know, just making it kid friendly.
Yep.
But Rick Moranis, that's why I watched.
Is it really?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say that's Derek's wheelhouse.
Yeah, because I'm insane. Jason, how about you?
I think there is something to this, but I like I said before, the characters felt disingenuous. I didn't like that they're all doing a take on some other pop culture figure that the kids may or may not understand who they are. I just felt like take a look at the character and just come up with a voice for that, and you can come up with a personality, but it doesn't have to be exactly, like you said, Peter Lorre or something like that.
Yeah. It's kind of a deep cut for a kid.
Oh man, 6-year-olds fucking love Peter Lorre.
I don't.
I did because of Looney Tunes and watching it with my dad.
That's what I'm saying though. Is like there are pop culture references that we ingested as kids that were beyond our scope, but like we still reckon, that this is a thing.
Yeah.
And then we found out what that thing was down the road.
Yeah.
But we knew it was something. Like this is funny.
I know this is funny.
This is supposed to be funny. So I think in some capacity, some of that carries over.
I'm kind of shitting on that now with this specific property, but there are definitely multiple examples of what my favorites were at the time is the Warner Brothers cartoons doing the exact same thing.
Bingo.
For sure.
Including Peter Lorre. I think there are Peter Lorre references like even back then.
Constantly.
What was the furry, big red furry monster?
with the big tennis shoes or whatever?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I can always use a dog brain.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just felt like there's such a timestamp on this, and I don't love that the title includes Rick Moranis' name. Don't do that.
It's a weird flex.
I mean, you can advertise in the commercials that it's him. I guess. I don't know. All in all, I think it's pretty dumb. It's pretty poorly written. I think action figures, if they were made, could have been cool.
Yeah.
I think the packaging, if you did it right, could be really cool. It could be a collector's thing, but I'll give it a C+. It's fine. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to watch this. There's no need to bring something like this back. Even
No.
There are other people doing it better, and it just seems like ripping off a kind of a generic version of like a classic thing.
Yeah.
With the Universal monster. So I don't know. C+.
I'm gonna have to go with Jason. I'm a C+ on it.
Okay.
I liked it as a kid because it had monsters. Mm-hmm. It had Rick Moranis, but. I gotta say I think it's one of those things where I remember it was hard for me with Saturday morning cartoons because I would have to get up early to even attempt to watch them and hope Susan would sleep in. Mm-hmm. I do want to preface, I promise you, this is not going to be anything like the Ernest shows where it's like, fucking Susan, blah, blah. I promise you, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It is kind of part of
your stepmother, Susan. Was she if she knew about the show, was she against it because it was monsters?
She didn't know about the show.
But do you think she would have been
She
like,
absolutely
this is
would have
part
been.
of the satanic panic?
Absolutely would have been.
Yeah.
She would have had a problem with it. But that's what kind of made it hard is like all of a sudden, she came into our lives. They got custody of me. She was married to my dad, and things shifted and changed very quickly. She went from being a lot of fun to, and I don't know if it's because we started going to church and she started getting swept up into things. In her defense, I don't know if some of it was because of where I was at as a kid. I had some behavioral issues because of my mom didn't always make the best decisions and wasn't the most consistent.
She had that hot air balloon we talked about.
Yeah, going around the world, goddamn 80 days.
Wow. Have I told you guys how much I love Dustin lately? It's true.
It's true. What really sells it for me is that you're reaching out to him. It's the physical contact.
You gotta have physical contact.
Reach out and touch. Reach out and Dutch.
Grind. I don't know exactly what her mentality was with cracking down on anything that involved monsters or magic, or this idea.
Did she literally think you were going to go dig up a body and like try to create,
She threw in with the idea that Smurfs were demonic.
It's the Smurfberry punch. Gets them every time.
She, for some reason, had
Azaria.
She would not. She wouldn't really let me watch. There came a point where she wouldn't really let me watch a whole lot of Saturday morning cartoons. It was, no, you need to start doing chores. It was very strange. It was very, very strange. I don't understand it to this day. Maybe she was trying to give me some structure because I came from a lifestyle that I didn't have a shit ton of structure.
Mm-hmm.
Playing devil's advocate. But regardless, it's a show that kind of fell off my radar because I thought the time slot switched, or I thought I wasn't getting to see it because I was having to do chores. Little did I know it only lasted 13 episodes.
I'd kind of be curious. I don't know if there's a database to know what shows were running against each other, because that would let me know why I didn't watch this.
That's
more.
something I kind of want to start looking into. Like, what was opposite on CBS or ABC?
That's when Saved by the Bell was on.
I bet those programming schedules are out there if you really want.
Yeah,
to.
because it's like maybe I watched that because something else was reruns, or
or maybe kids didn't tune into it because something way more popular was scheduled at the same time. It's in its second or third season on CBS or ABC.
I was
Fox didn't really have
OG Readmore.
OG Readmore here.
Yeah.
That was the cat.
That was the cat
with the big wooden ship.
Big wooden ship.
Old
wooden
whale's
ship.
vagina.
Original gangster.
Original gangster. So yeah, that is Rick Moranis in Gravedale High. That is our grade, but we will be back after these brief messages.
ABC Weekend Specials, Captain O.G. Readmore speaking.
This is a magic cloth, O.G. Presto!
Hey, pretty good, Mr. Blackstone, but I bet you couldn't turn someone into a dog.
A dog?
Like in today's ABC Weekend Special, The Dog Days of Arthur Kane. It's a story of a young man who magically becomes a pooch.
Well, we'll try. O.G. Readmore, turn around. Change this cat into a hound.
See? I knew you couldn't do it. I knew you couldn't Well, my great-grandpa, O.K. Readmore, once taught me that you would have terrible luck if you ever let a black cat cross your path.
Well, that's a silly superstition.
Not really. He used to train panthers.
Here, O.G., let me give you a hand with that.
Thanks, Billy D. I have to introduce today's ABC Weekend Special.
What am I?
It's the exciting conclusion of Cougar, based on the book An American Ghost by Chester Aaron.
Oh, gee, what's on the other end of...
A flood washed Albie's and Sarah's home away and left them trapped with a mountain lion. Keep pulling. I'll be back.
A mountain lion? Oh, gee, don't tell me I'm pulling a mountain lion.
Now, would I do that to you?
How did he do that?
My first little trick-or-treaters. Oh! Little cookies. I made them myself. They can't be that bad. Don't bake cookies with a blowtorch. You guys watch the Simpsons Halloween special, and when you come back, I'm going to be in the scariest, most bizarre costume you ever saw.
New York's movie station. Next on the 8 o'clock movie.
the time you can count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What would you do if it happened to you? Jason's back with a vengeance in Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter.
And that, my friends, brings our lovely walk down memory lane to a close. But please join us next week as we discuss Monster Squad. You want to talk about something that was a shit show in the Hoover household? Monster Squad.
You know why? Because Susan does not like that Wolfman's got snards.
That's right. I actually watched that behind her back in our living room on an HBO free weekend.
About virgins.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Fat Kid.
This is where I would normally ask, are either of you gents familiar with it? But my God,
clearly I am, yes.
Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah.
Here's one thing.
I own it on Blu-ray.
To borrow from Jason to whet your whistle, here's something I don't understand. What the bad kid in it?
Yeah.
He looks like a badass?
Yeah.
The opening scene, he comes up on the bike and skids out. He's wearing like fucking penny loafers. So he looks like a greaser all the way down to his ankles. He's wearing like loafers. What the fuck's up with that?
It's What Up With That? Taking on the issues of today with soul. Tonight, actor Paul Rudd. New York Times columnist Frank Rich. And from Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham. And now, here's your host, DeAndre Cole.
I woke up this morning and I got out of bed. Had a big old cup of coffee to clear my head. Telephone rang and you wanna chat? Well, sit on down and tell me what up with that. Ooh-wee. What's up with that? What's up with that? Ooh-wee. What's up with that? What's up with that? He said, she said, we said, me said, what up with that? Who knew, you knew, say what, who knew, what up with that? What's up with that? Yeah.
What the fuck's up with that? Why isn't it like boots or kicks? No.
That's a wardrobe malfunction.
That's something. Poor choice.
Someone screwed up.
Poor
on
choice.
Stuntman didn't have the right footwear.
I don't know what that was about. I didn't care for it much. Gentlemen, socials?
Find me at Dutch Stick 11. Also follow Radio Rewind Pod. I don't run that one, but I'm related to it.
Yes, it's adjacent.
It's adjacent to Jason.
Yes. I find that you start your week with us. Yeah. You end your week with Radio Rewind. You cruise into the weekend and you just have a good time.
A dual listenership. A nice companion piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You can find me at Derek J. Hoover on X or engage with the show at Yesterday's Pod on X. I do want to give a very quick shout out. That lovely song we hear in the intro and outro that you've peppered with some of our favorite phrases from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
That is by our friends in Fantastic Plastics, and they have a new album coming out this Friday.
Hooray!
October 13th, Dimensions.
Okay.
Please check them out. Support them. They got a great sound. They are a lot of fun. Look them up on YouTube because they do have some pretty funny music videos too.
Oh yeah.
They dress up. It's this whole thing. I really like what they're bringing to the table, and I like their sound. I just
check them out.
Check them out. They're a lot of fun. If you want to share feedback in more detail, please email us at yesterdayspod@gmail.com. Give us a visit at yesterdaysmedia.com as well for our episode schedule and articles that are related to the topics we're covering. I try to do little write-ups that are fun, engaging, and with just a little bit of a personal touch as well. If you are in the position to help the channel grow, please consider being a patron at patreon.com/yesterdayspodcast. that is going to wrap up our second week of spooky Halloween month. Just hey, Jason.
It's like I'm on a Ferris wheel.
Easy. It's okay. You're not on a Ferris wheel.
Jane, get me off this crazy thing.
Called love.
Wow. Okay. That So I Married an Axe Murderer?
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking of that movie. I was just thinking of that movie the other day. But that's going to wrap it up for us this week on Yesterday's podcast, and we will see you next Monday.